Hi, welcome to my class, International Finance. I am Andy Kim at SKKU in Seoul, Korea. SKKU stands for Sungkyunkwan University, and this is Asia's oldest university, established in 1398. Of course, the meaning of university may be different from the way you mean by, in the Europe or America. This is kings established university, highest education to raise their officials, government officials, and advisors. So, by the way, I think this is very meaningful, to learn international finance from the Asia's oldest university because until now it has been more Eurocentric and American-centric, but future, right? We are equally centered, right? Asia's finance and all these kind of Asia's business opportunities, and then international transactions from the perspective of Asia, right? That can add an interesting flavor to you. Samsung Electronics or BTS do you know? You like it? Or Psy, that kind of things, right? So I hope this class will be very interesting for you, regardless of where you are. By the way, why do I introduce myself as such a, international way of, who listens to this? Some of you may wonder, especially my undergraduate students in Global Business Administration program of SKKU. But here is my swag, right? Last year, I recorded and uploaded my video lectures on YouTube so that everybody can see it for free, okay, as long as you are interested in international finance. And I've been going through Eun and Resnick's International Finance textbook, and then I was very fortunate and honored because Professor Atif Ikram of Arizona State University in the United States introduced me to his website called Simply Taught. This is a service, right? Service provider or company that tries to connect, okay, English textbooks to its YouTube lecturers like this, okay, like myself. And there must be, for each and every textbook, there must be some instructors in the universities all around the world that are using certain textbooks. The subject may be biology, maybe finance, or maybe any other thing, statistics, and as you see it over here. And then, fortunately, I was picked by him, and then he introduced here's Professor Atif Ikram, by the way. Hi, yeah, are you? Right. Simply Taught. And then my course was connected to this book over here, International Financial Management by Eun and Resnick. And if you go to this URL, you can see this drop-down menu over here. And then you will see, well, let's see over here, balance of payment. You see Andy Kim over here. You can click it, balance of payment, and then my lectures down there, okay? And somebody else's, right, other professors' lectures, you can see it. And then you can enjoy it for free, right? So that's what I appreciate, right? And then I got exposed to different audience all around the world, right? I was honored by this. And right now you see Lars Luander, his lecture is also there. You can, enjoy it, okay? And then international equity markets or other things. Yeah, and he came over here. Right. So Simply Taught, yeah. I got connected to that one last year. So I'm creating another set of lectures this semester using the same textbook but a different or updated version. Okay, updated version this year. That's why I'm introducing myself in more global manner, right? Introducing my university and then giving more flavor of Asia, maybe, right? Un res niken chulun, right? International Financial Management, ninth edition. This is going to be your textbook. How different is it compared to 8th edition? There would be some small bit of changes, but I don't believe that you have to, if you have 8th edition, stay with that. If you want to buy something, 9th edition is here for you, okay? So that's that. And then prerequisite for this course, at least 2 finance courses, please. In SKKU GBA program, you have financial management. It's a must, right? Time value of money thing. You have to master that, right? CAPM, beta, that kind of things. If you don't know it, go back and do it, right? And then intermediate corporate finance, you have to take it, right? Of course. And then you have a choice, of course. Intermediate investment is there in GBA's case. Fine. So either of these two, intermediate investment or corporate finance, right? You must have taken it until last semester. If this is your first finance course, bye-bye, au revoir, okay? If it is your second finance courses, you can take it, but it's gonna be hard, okay? So get ready for that. And then there is a survey that I take from you, okay, for GBA students. So go to the school's, university's website, and then click on it, and then go to my Google survey, so that I can understand you better about your situation. And then if you have some demand for me to cover specific chapters or specific topics, go ahead and ask me. I will try it. Reflect your demand into my course. So that's one thing I have to let you know. Right. And then international finance, why bother? We learn it. Well, this is because globalized world, right? Everything is connected to everything else. Every region, every country are deeply connected. And we realized how much we have been connected to each other so deeply last year. Why? Because of COVID-19. Gee, right? All of a sudden in March in Korea, right? All these airlines had to be shut down, and then lockdown situation happened, and then unimaginable things happened, right? Has been so painful in various aspects. Just looking at the stock market, right? The stock market index tanked by a half by March 23rd or 22nd, right? Because of this unprecedented crisis of epidemic, global epidemic. And it stopped all these economic transactions as long as it has to be a face-to-face meeting, right? Global travels, right? No airlines from then on, right? Airline industry has been in deep trouble. And then, so with that expectation in various aspects, the market tanked. And then many people thought this is the end of the world. Come on, right? Perhaps this may be the end of globalization, third wave of globalization. I was really afraid of that, honestly speaking. Would it incur another global financial crisis was an immediate question, right? With that crash in the market. But interestingly enough, right after 23rd, the stock market skyrocketed back again, right? And then right now, it is just breaking the record of higher and higher level these days. Kospi index above 3,000, historical high. Dow Jones, S&P 500, you name it, it's just there. Why? Not because those real economy is back, not because of the airline industry is back to business, but because of some other reasons. Alternative industries are taking off, right? And thanks to the preparedness of global financial system, it has been more resilient, I guess, right? Thank God we suffered from global financial crisis 10 years ago or before this crisis, so much so that we learned how to be prepared and then improve our financial stability. Okay, there has been a lot of effort going through Dodd-Frank Act, and then the central bankers coordinations and all this kind of stuff, right? Quantitative easing has been there, and of course there could be some pros and cons about it, right? But the system was more prepared than what I was afraid of, or what many people were afraid of, I guess. And then, even more interesting thing is, people started to invest a lot more internationally. For example, Korean people, the individual investors, used to invest only in Korea. We call it home bias, right? Perhaps because of familiarity bias, only investing in what you are familiar with, or because of information advantage. Don't invest in what you don't know. That's Jim Rogers' rule of thumb in investment. Don't invest in what you don't know. If you don't have information, don't invest it. So Korean investors have better information about Korean companies, so invest in it. Not in American companies or Japanese companies or any other Chinese companies, right? Information is the issue. Now what? With the advancement of fintech, right? You have much more information, and then you get more familiarized yourself to Tesla and Apple and Zoom and all this kind of stuff. So, moreover, what related to COVID-19, you have what? AstraZeneca. Is it Hasta la Vista? AstraZeneca? I don't know. Sounds familiar. So AstraZeneca or Pfizer, right? Or Moderna, right? All these kind of things. Getting more familiar, and then you want to invest in that, okay? A record number of Korean investors, individual investors, are investing in American market, okay? Not just Korea, okay? American investors as well, okay? Those individual investors now, thanks to the Robinhood fintech company, right? They're investing in all different kinds of countries and companies, right? That's a very interesting phenomena going on with this, right? A lot of things to study this period, right? Very hot and interesting and exciting period we are living through. So a lot of things to study in this course, right? The thing is, last semester in my behavioral finance and fintech course in MBA, right? I was, my students had to do virtual trading using Mira Asset Daew's platform, one of the brokerage houses in Korea, biggest ones. And then there they had a choice. They could invest in domestic market, and they could invest in US market as well. My Korean students, right? They got excited. Yeah, Moderna, I'm going to invest it in. And then by the end of the competition, because at the end of the day, your grade will partially dependent on that trading profit, the returns that you make. Yeah. So many of my students invested in American market, and then by the time we reached the Christmas time, and then we had to calculate everything, the return on all these things, they asked me, right? Are you going to convert this US dollar amount into Korean won, by the way? Of course, the FX risk is there, right? Once you convert the money from one currency to the other currency and then translate it back, that FX risk is there, right? So FX is a very important concept that you have to master if you want to invest in international market, okay? So that's one practical reason for you to, right, as an individual investors who want to expand your portfolio into global, right, international arena, FX is something that you have to master. And that's something you're going to learn in this course. And even if you're not investing in stock market or bond market these days, you have to master those FX if you are interested in international trade, right? For Korean people, it's a must, right? Because we are export-oriented country, like Japan and Korea and China and Taiwan and Singapore and Hong Kong, you name it, right? So FX has been a natural concept that you have to always consider. Of course, this is not just Asia, but in Europe as well. You guys had to, consider all these kind of currency exchanges before you introduce the European Union, like a EU, Euro currency, right? All different countries' currency translated, okay? That kind of things, right? Or you're traveling to the United States, you have to worry about those FX, right? So that's another reason that you have to study international finance, right? A very fun subject. And nowadays, not just that, companies takes over other companies internationally. Global M&A is there. I know a lot of GBA students in SKKU, they aspire to become a global investment banker. And my dream is to educate the right investment bankers for the whole world, right? The best investment banker should be my student. That's my dream, okay? Going to Wall Street or going to whatever place that is, And there, global M&A. For example, last year, there was a famous M&A case about the delivery hero from Germany, right? Delivery hero taking over 배달의 민족, the biggest delivery company in Korea. They are delivering all this kind of whatever possible item that you want to deliver, right? Your food, your lunch or dinner, all these kind of materials. 배달의 민족, they are, delivering all these kind of things to you. Door to door. As it turns out, with the pandemic, right? COVID-19, this kind of delivery service is high in demand, extremely high in demand. My wife, she always calls for this delivery. Not just call, but use the cell phone app, 배달의 민족. And then Delivery Hero was taking over this guy. And then it created a big problem, okay, to think about. I'm not talking about, serious social problem or things, but I'm talking about this economic problem of monopoly, okay? Antitrust regulation is there within Korea, okay? As Delivery Hero takes over this company, the market share, okay, of this Delivery Hero or 배민, 배달의 민족 will be like 98% of Korea's domestic market of delivery. So creating monopoly like this. The regulators raise their eyebrow. No. And then they say what? They say yes. Go through. That decision was made like last month or something by Professor 조성욱 교수님 in 공정거래위원회, right? FTC. But there was a condition. She said, right? On condition that those Yogiyo, right, one of the subsidiaries that this guy had before, had to be spun out so that it should be competing against Delivery Hero or 배달의 민족 over there, right? So that the market share would be smaller than this 98%. You have to compete somehow, right? So international M&A is hot, right? That's something you have to master. There, international regulations of this kind of antitrust, and then what can be a potential legal issue, that kind of things you have to think about, right? Also, FX-related derivatives, interest rates swaps, and then kind of interest rate parity concept. You'll have to study if you want to master all these kind of, be prepared for global banking business. And for me personally, I'll get back to that issue. Personally, I've been teaching behavioral finance. What am I doing over here? Dancing with a Bloomberg journalist, Brandon Greeley, right? What am I doing over there? Because I had a paper about Gangnam Style, right? Gangnam Style. That is Psy, right? Psy's father has a listed company about in the semiconductor industry. Has nothing to do with the entertainment business, but the father and son relation was disclosed in the media. And the interesting thing is, those international investors, individual investors, started to put their money into Psy's father's stock, right? Um, and that turns out to be the coincidentally those days when there was a flash mob going on of Gangnam Style in their country, and that was also prevalent in Korean domestic market, right? Every different regions, right? Those individual investors pay attention to those media explosive media covered companies like that. That kind of attention drives the stock price bubble up. Okay, that was my point of the paper over here. I was fortunate enough to get, the television interview from the United States like this, and I had a chance to dance with this journalist like this. Another interesting part of it is like the Eugene Fama, the Nobel laureates hedge fund, which is supposedly, not believing in market the bubbles in the stock market, started to invest in this bubble stock, right? Very interesting phenomena, right? Has nothing to do with value investment or anything, right? So that was, a fun experience, and ever since I have been teaching behavioral finance. An international aspect of behavioral finance is also a fun subject to teach. And my students, at one point, gave me this, picture like this, Harry Potter with my face on it as a celebration in that class. Fun subject, fun course, I hope, right? I hope you like my international finance as well, right? Last year's video lectures in YouTube is also available, right? Last year was my first attempt to record my video. So it's gonna be a lot more bumpy, right? It was my first experience to teach with international finance in this textbook, plus first experience to video record and upload on the YouTube. So it's gonna be a lot more bumpy. So I'm afraid you're not going to like it too much, but if you want to preview something beforehand, right? You can click on this, and then let's see. There is a list of video that you see over here, and then perhaps you can, what is it? Use this setting over here and then speed it up.
Second part of my lecture.
Speed it up to two
So let's talk
times
about the
or
goals
something
for
like that.
international financial management, right? The focus of the text is to equip the readers with the
And
intellectual
then you can
toolbox of an
preview
effective global
something
manager. But
before
what
you
goal
take
should
my
this
course
effective
this semester.
global manager
But
be working towards, right?
I'll
Is
try
it
my
maximizing shareholder wealth?
I'll try my best to prepare my new version of video lectures this semester, so that you're going to be, enjoying it equally or better, right? I hope I improve, and I hope you like it. Right. Now, last year's lecture is over there. Yes, and then those subjects are what I'm going to teach in the chapters, right? Those things will be pretty much the same as last year, unless there are some of the concepts that you want to cover. If you have some chapters that I want to cover, please tell me about it. I'm going to reflect your demand. And then for me personally, I worked for Bank of America Seoul branch right after I graduated Yonsei University in 1999. There I worked as a corporate credit analyst, so assessing those credit quality of the corporate borrowers like Samsung Electronics, Samsung Electromechanics, and then or Cheil, CJ, right, LG, right, these big corporations. So, and then there I had to support those FX transaction from the credit perspective. And then trade finance, right? Letter of credit and all these kind of things, right? Which is also covered in this book over here. Trade finance is one of the things that you will have to do if you get hired by global banks, commercial banks. That's a bread and butter stuff that you have to know. So I'm going to teach that concept to you. FX derivatives, basics of it. Yeah, I'm going to cover that one. And then to be prepared for that part, you need to have solid understanding of purchasing power parity, and then those parity relations, and then balance of payment, and all these kind of basic FX concepts, right? Trilemmas, right? Triffin trilemmas, all these kind of concepts will be covered in the beginning of the early part of the semester. Okay, it's going to be a lot of fun. Okay. If things permit, I'm going to invite some guest speakers, guest lecturers from international banking. So you can, last year I invited a global investment banker from Societe Generale, the head of, what is it? FX, right? There we had a nice, great discussions. So that kind of things. I'm going to invite some guest speakers from various places. So let's hope for the best, and then hope you enjoy my class, and see you as we go down the road, and then start the semester in February 22nd. All right. Bye bye.